the 2024 Toyota Tacoma is frustrating. You know, let's forget about all the negative things that people have said about it. You know, the 4-cylinder turbo engine, the gremlins that first-year production models have. You know, we know that there's been a driveline problem. I've heard rumors of engine lights and gauge cluster lights popping up. Just issues like that. I can only imagine there's probably some fit and finish issues. I even heard yesterday somebody told me that they had one and their tailgate does not have the dampening system in it, which we discovered when I was at the dealership checking out the TRD Sport. It was actually on an SR. The dealership guy there, the sales guy, went to put the tailgate down and he unlatched it. You would naturally think then you just let go and it would ease its way down, right? But no, slam, it slammed down. I think it woke up the whole dealership. So there have been some issues along those lines, which we all knew there would be, right? I mean, nobody should be surprised at any of that. But there are other things that are more frustrating to me. You know, I start to think, is this the first new model Toyota has ever put out? Well, of course not. They've put out many new redesigned models, right? Not just the Tacoma, but all their other lines too. So you would think after a period of time, they'd kind of have it down, right? They know what they're doing. But it doesn't seem to be that way. Now, there have been some extenuating circumstances. At least people keep blaming things on this, and that's the big sickness. You know, that really socked it to all of the production facilities as far as parts availability, even labor with sick people, right? But nonetheless, that's been, what, a couple years ago or something, and I know it's still going on, it's still around, but not to the extent or the panic that we had when it first happened. So I'm not going to accept that as any kind of a reason for problems that we're having. Supply issues, there have always been supply issues with things, right? So I'm not even going to give them that one. They just screwed up, I think. It's like they forgot how to release new products, new redesigned products. You know, it's amazing to me that you stop manufacturing a successful model, the 3rd gen Tacoma, and don't have the next gen model ready to go. You would think they'd have had plenty of them built up. I mean, they could have started well before the release of the new Tacoma and warehoused a few models, you know? Because certainly Toyota realized, I would think, that there's going to be a demand for the new Tacoma. It's not like people are just discovering it. There are a lot of fans out there, and I know they're popular because every time they come in anywhere, they're gone. They're not sitting on the lots like the new Tundra is. You know, I had mentioned before that I heard, again, another rumor, that Toyota was going to slow or stop production on the Tundra for a couple of months because there's such a huge supply of them out there. They can't just keep stacking up the lots with them. I mean, my dealer has 75 of them. It's crazy. Now, my hope was that Toyota would then dedicate those folks and those production lines to the new Tacoma, of which there is demand for. We'll see if that happens. I don't know if it's that simple. I mean, you have people trained to do certain things on certain production lines, so it may not be as easy as pulling Joe from over here and putting him over there. I don't know. Plus, I don't even know if the equipment and the production line setup can support both models. I'm sure there are some similarities, obviously, but I don't know if you can build whole trucks on different lines. Probably not. So I might be dreaming when I think of that. But none of that's why it's overly frustrating to me. Why it's frustrating to me is the lack of communication and supply. It seems to me like Toyota doesn't really tell their dealerships what's going on. It's like when they finish a truckload or whatever, a production run of Tacomas, then they just send them out and they magically appear at the dealerships. It's like the dealerships don't know they're coming. Now, I'm sure it's probably not fully like that, but it sure does feel like that. And the supply of them. You know, you look online, you see allocations, and a lot of dealerships will provide dates, expected dates when the product's in this case the 2024 Tacoma, is actually supposed to arrive. But they seem to be falling behind on those dates. Every week when I check out the allocation dates, they're moving further out. What is Toyota doing? I mean, do they not know how many they're going to produce within a given period of time and where they're going to ship them? Doesn't seem like a very efficient way to produce a vehicle. And Toyota, for years anyway, was supposed to be one of the best at doing that, right? Getting everything out in a just-in-time fashion, I think, is what they've kind of adopted. The rumor mill out there is crazy. They say that Toyota is only producing trucks for allocation. In other words, they're only producing limited numbers to kind of keep the supply down, to keep the demand up, and ultimately to be able to charge higher prices. I mean, in the end, it's all about the almighty dollar anyway, right? I don't know if I believe that. I mean, it is one way to go, but you lose a lot of trust and credibility, I think, when you do that, because it pisses off your customers. Let's face it, none of us out there want to see higher prices, especially on a mid-sized truck like the Tacoma, where we don't see a lot of monumental changes. Yeah, it's redesigned, it looks a bit different, it has different technology in it. I mean, I don't know if it's all that much better, really. It looks different, the screens are different, but they still do the same kind of things, right? I mean, you link up your phone, hopefully, which, by the way, I have had trouble doing in this third generation Tacoma. Now, I know that when you go to a new phone, and I have, I think, the newest iPhone, the software on the system might not be as up to date and you could have issues. But honestly, I've always had issues. Never seems to want to stay connected, and I've heard from other people telling me the same thing, asking me, how do you make a phone stay connected or work on a Toyota Tacoma? And my answer is, I don't know. I have the same troubles myself, so who knows? So we're going to see if things get better going forward. Maybe they will dedicate some of their production, more of it, to the Toyota Tacoma to try to increase the supply out there a little bit. Depending upon how they're selling, maybe the prices will, well, the prices aren't going to come down, but there could be incentives. Like I've also heard they're doing with the Toyota Tundra now, like 1% or 1.9% financing for, I think it's 48 months, something like that, and cash back too. I don't know if we're going to see that on the Tacoma, because the Tacoma still seems to be pretty darn successful. But time will tell. It's you and I that determine that, right? If we don't buy them, they've got to do something to entice us to buy them, right? Leave a comment. Let me know. Are you frustrated with the whole release of the 2024 Tacoma, either from its capability, its looks, its pricing, or the availability of it? I'd just be curious to know. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.